guys, it's Carrie. I know, different hair, who dis, but it is me, Carrie from Carrie Bowberry Co. And welcome back. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Today, we are going to be creating our monthly spread for March. I was inspired by Aquamarine, which is the birthstone for March, and it's significant for me because my mom's birthday is in March, so that's her birthstone. So we always got her Aquamarine gifts. She always had an Aquamarine necklace or a ring or, you know, all the Aquamarine things. So I don't know, it just gave me some nostalgia thinking about my mom and buying her gifts and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I went with in my monthly calendar spread this week. So I hope you like it, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, so since I am working with watercolor today, then I'm actually going to be working on watercolor paper instead of in my actual bullet journal page, and then I will just be taping these papers into my bullet journal. I have done it before where I've tried to use watercolor straight on my bullet journal pages, and the paper is just way too thin and it buckles and it, you know, gets all crazy and bubbly. So I'm working on watercolor paper today. This was actually pretty difficult for me to do without the dots on my dot grid paper. This is just plain watercolor paper with no lines or dots or anything like that. So to keep everything square and make sure that I wasn't going at an angle was kind of a challenge. So one of these days I definitely will be treating myself to an Archer and Olive dot grid notebook. If you've never heard of them, they are these awesome notebooks that I like the dot grid ones, but you can also get planners or regular journals, but they have really nice thick pages so that you can actually paint straight onto the pages. So I will be treating myself to one of those one of these days so that I don't have to do all of this extra work with the measuring and the taping and the yada yada yada. So all I'm doing right now is just measuring out how I want the layout to go. These boxes over here are always where I put my extra, you know, my goals and to-dos and next month and all that. So I'm going in and creating my little aquamarine stones. I kind of wanted to have that raw look, but then I also have this cute little teardrop looking gem, and I was having a little bit of trouble getting the right look with it that I wanted it to have. I wanted it to kind of look like it was slanting over. And then these boxes, I wanted it to kind of have a jewelry sort of vibe. So that is why it's, you'll kind of see it come together a little bit later once I color it in. And then up here on March, I want to have a stroke of watercolor. So I penciled that out first. So I'm going in with a light blue, and then on the teardrop I had like a slightly darker blue, and I just really want everything to have a nice light blue aquamarine vibe. I definitely was nervous to jump into like Sapphire territory, which is kind of where this little teardrop gem started to look like it was heading, so I took a break from that one and then just started focusing on these little guys over here. I started adding a little bit more of that aqua color and having it be a little bit less turquoisey, hoping that that would kind of aquamarine it up and make it look less sapphire-y. So over here, I am just coloring in that area that I penciled in first, and then I'm adding a shadow underneath of the stones. I'm starting to kind of scooch out of frame here, but I'm going to fix it in just a second. Sorry about that. But I think I'm just basically adding a lot more depth and dimension, just kind of adding some shading and darker colors and everything. So over here, to make this look kind of like jewelry, I'm going in with a light gray marker first, and then I'm going to go over top of it in just a few minutes. You'll see what I do after this. But I went with a, to label each box for the header, I went with a marker that was kind of the same color as the Aquamarine watercolor paint up top. So I have my bucket list, which is, just things that I would like to get done, my to-do list, which is things that I need to get done, and then my next month box, just so that I know what's coming up. And then I'm just going over that gray marker with my clear Stardust Jelly Roll pen, and so that just adds some sparkle and shine to it, so it kind of gives it like a silvery, kind of jewelry look to it. And I love this pen because you can put it, since it's clear, you can put it over top of like yellowy colors and it looks metallic gold. You can put it over kind of like a pinkish brown color and you get like a metallic rose gold. It's lovely. I love it. So I'm going in here with my Posca white extra fine paint marker to go over the word March. It's going to look really light at first, but I'm going to go back over it in a little bit to make it a little bit darker. I'm just going to let it dry. And then just kind of adding some highlights into my little gems. Taking that same blue marker and just writing in my dates. And then I kind of decided that this marker was a little too crisp and bright compared to the rest of this watercolor look. So I went in with a teeny tiny paintbrush and just used water to kind of smudge all of this a little bit so that it matched the watercolor effect a little bit more and was just not quite so, crisp and blue and bright. So I'm using that same gray color, and then I'll go over it again with the Stardust Jelly Roll pen just to write the days of the week. And now I'm going over those lines, just kind of darkening them up with a Sharpie pen. I had to go over it a whole bunch of times because it was on such absorbent paper. The watercolor paper is so absorbent that my marker it seemed like it was drying out. It really wasn't, but just because of the nature of the paper. And then just going back over, kind of doing a second coat on my white March letters here with that same paint marker. And I did have a little bit of paper buckling up in the corner, so I had to kind of hold that down. And now I have a slightly more muted blue-gray color just to, I was still feeling like it was a little bit bright, so I just went over everything with that. And now I'm just cutting along those pre-measured lines to cut the pages to the same size as my bullet journal pages. And then I'm using a tape runner to add permanent adhesive to the back of my watercolor paper so that it sticks to the pages of my actual bullet journal. And then we're just going to go around and round the corners to match the pages of the bullet journal, and then we are all done. I really hope you love it as much as I do. Okay guys, that was it. I really hope that you like this calendar monthly spread. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to like and subscribe, and then also please follow me on Instagram at CarrieBowberryCo. I post all kinds of fun stuff on there and contests, giveaways, all that good stuff. I post all of my new Etsy products and everything like that. So follow me on there, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.